only reason I really kind of care so much about ZVZ is that we do just see so much of it. I think that's probably the worst thing. Like, the fact that the European scene is just dominated by Zergs a lot of the time means we just see so many Zerg versus Zerg matchups. Like, today a ZVZ finals is fine because we've casted like one ZVZ throughout the entire day and we've been live like 7 hours. You know? That's okay, that makes sense. When you cast like a Go for SE2 and you're casting ZVZ in the round of 8, round of 4 again in finals, that's not very fun. So that's my only reason I don't want to... That's my only reason I have against ZVZ or so, you know. More or less. Solo is indeed in the loser's bracket, got knocked down here by Serral earlier. Which makes this such an interesting top 3, because Solo versus Serral or Harstem versus Serral as the finals would be interesting. You know, we just saw Harstem can definitely bring it to Serral, and he did beat Serral yesterday. And of course we also saw that Serral has beaten Solo today, and he beat Solo last week in the TLMC as well. So what do you even say? It's absolutely crazy when you consider the fact that both these guys, or all 3 of these guys, could really kind of push through. The difficulty is going to be, can Harstem take down Solo? And that's what we have to ask ourselves, because I feel like he can. He really brought it to Serral in that last series, and if he picks up on his mistakes and fixes those, well then anything I think is going to be possible here. Was a Vintage with the 11-month resub, 1 away from 1 whole year. Thank you so much for the 11 months of subscribing, man. Hope you're having a fantastic weekend. Or that you've had a fantastic weekend. I guess it's pretty late on Sunday now, isn't it? Thank you so much for the 11 months, though, guys. Get some body hearts up in the chat. See some love in here for Vintage. Lots of subs and resubs today, guys. Thank you very much. Really do appreciate. Thanks for the love and support. Really do appreciate it. As we set up into game number 1 of this best of 5. Again, last best of 5 of the day, because after this, it's our best of 7 final. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. We see a warp gate coming on up, and Adept is on the way out. Probe just going to come up the right side. I'm just going to be scouting around, obviously, early here. Look to see what else will be happening in the early stages. Going to see an Adept just going to start shading through the center of the map at the moment. So, shading through the middle, looking to get into a nice little position or so. Looking to see what's going to happen. Shade, 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 Mr. Adept. There you go. Off and away down in this direction. A couple of Lings going to jump on top of a probe there. Just for a moment or so, and again, Adept going to come in and chase that circling away. Niptad's Carapace about halfway done. Ling speed will be complete in a moment or two soon. And so on and so on. Yeah, Luna, if you want the replay packs from September, just send me a... they'll go out again with the new replay pack, but if you want them tonight, just send me a whisper on Twitch, like /W_Wardy. Just send me a whisper and I'll send them to you by the end of the stream. The replay packs from September. Otherwise, they'll go out anyways to all subs again in a couple of days. Maybe tomorrow we'll send out the replays and the WardiTV Penthouse replays as well. Just thinking if we're going to send them out tomorrow. Because we don't have many other replays to attach with these, so it'd be kind of a small replay pack. Don't want to spam my sub inboxes too much. But, well. It'll be sometime this week. Maybe after we cast a couple more events, I think is the most likely. Get some stuff to update you guys on as well. I like to send out my sub replays with a bit of a message to people, letting people know what's going on in my life. No, never really advertise it as a reason to sub, but you know, you ever want to know what's going on with Wardy, you can subscribe. You get personal, well, not personalized, but you get subbalized. I don't know how to make that joke. You get a sub message about what's up, what I'm doing, how the stream's rolling, that sort of stuff. I know. What a great selling point. Some people actually do kind of like it, I guess. Kind of interested, I suppose. Robo facility halfway done here. It's a Glaives opening from Harstem. Complete change up from what we've been seeing him go for already. I feel like with 4 extra gates already on the way down, there's going to be a heck of a lot of Adepts trying to all in and trying to go into this as we get the melee upgrade coming on through from Solar, setting up and getting ready to roll. you haven't seen anything like that so far, check your Twitch inbox, Adamski. Your message inbox, not your whisper inbox. That's why I send those messages out. Anyways, Robo Drone coming through. Let's focus on this game because Solo's realizing kind of what's going on. He sees the gates, he sees the Twilight and the Robo, and he realizes that this isn't just going to be a fairly friendly third Nexus that's on the way from Harstem. There's a reason he's cut probes. Well, we're about to see what it is. Is Oracle going to lead the charge for now? The Warp Prism is just on the way up. Obviously, no glaives yet means that he's not immediately eager to kind of take fights until the Adepts are ready. This first few Zerglings not going to do too much. Solo's still droning up heavily, by the way. He's going to be on 70 drones in a moment. That said, with the Roach Roar and finishing, he's going to have so many roaches to build. He's got so much gas. He's got so many minerals, although actually so far only 2 roaches on the way up. He drops a Spire. Maybe Solo doesn't realize just how aggressive Harstem is about to be. Because I don't know, 7 roaches is cool and all, but they're very immobile, remember. They're very much so kind of the, oh, if you're in the right position, they'll defend fine. But if they're not in the right position, they'll fall into a lot of trouble very quickly, sort of scenario. Adepts coming in, killing off a Queen here as these other Adepts going to shade on up to the high ground. Love the stasis ward, something to try and just bait units into and take a couple of them out of the fight. Single Roach will sacrifice itself into that there. Queen's transfusing. Now we're going to be seeing, ooh, you're going to cancel the warp in. Obviously feels as though this isn't a fight he can win. Harstem trying to back away. But Solo's just got enough to kind of clean up, you know. He is going to start getting a few drone kills here. Harstem starting to make probes behind this to saturate that third base. Did warp into the low ground here. Another wave of Adepts just thinking about where the best place for them to go might be. Actually going to commit into this mineral line, get themselves another Roach. Spine Crawler coming up as well, though. Now 14 workers killed. Stasis actually catches a lot of units on the high ground. Now 20 workers killed. Solo's worker count being brought all the way back down, but Harstem is losing his entire army to do this. And so we might just see an immediate counterattack across the map. A counterattack which could be very difficult for Harstem to defend with only 22 army supply against the 60 of Solar. Another few Adepts warping in here. Something's going to go across the map to at least just see what's over towards the third Nexus. We're going to be seeing the follow-up here from Harstem. 2 extra Stargates. He might be switching this into Oracles, playing some tricky sort of play styles here. Playing something a little bit different, playing a little bit weird. His Adept's going to come over to the side. Queen, though, be able to push away that Warp Prism fairly simply and fairly easily. So Warp Prism gets pushed back towards the center, now to the right. And Stalker here to defend against these Zerglings. Forge builds up towards the third base too. And still just this Warp Prism, a couple of Adepts in it. Going to be moving around and just relocating, going to get rid of another Zergling right there. Just keeping some map controls. Ling's going to try and run by the front, but good defense by Harstem. Yeah, you know what? Harstem's doing kind of okay. Going into the Oracle switch. Problem is the mutas are on the way out. We saw the Spire coming down from Solar. Well, you know what? As soon as Harstem sees the mutas, though, he just makes 3 Phoenix at a time. The triple Stargate, it's actually not that bad of a thing for him. Make 3 Phoenix at a time, he's going to have anti-muta on the map instantly. He's currently heading up to the top side. And he's got 1 Phoenix here, nibbling away at a Dropper Lord. Just moving forwards, and that Phoenix is going to be chased by mutas in just a moment or two. Prism to the south. Oracles are... Well, I mean, the problem is, I guess, right, there's no anti-air immediately here. Now he's going to see this group of mutas, immediately cancels the Oracles, and starts with the Phoenix. Apologies. Coughing. But yeah, Phoenix on the way, and so I don't really know how much these mutas are going to do. I mean, initial overcharges will help to defend. How many Oracles are out? 6? It's not a lot, but it's enough to maybe start turning these roaches away. Or as we see, the Oracles going to try and help out here. Phoenix is going to come back in as well. Might actually need to go back into Oracles now. There isn't even any more Phoenix. But this attack at the third base is going to be full of roaches. A couple of Ravagers moving in as well. And as these units continue to push on through, well, Harstem needs to find himself an answer. Oracles will indeed come on in. They're going to start just working their way through the roaches, though. The problem is those roaches take a long time to die to the Oracles, obviously. Phoenix was fighting in an overcharge. I mean, they're going to be able to get rid of those mutas very easily. Problem is, he still has to get rid of all these roaches and Ravagers and Lings coming across the map. I mean, target the Ravagers, target the Lings of the Oracles. They're going to go down so quickly in that case. Now the Phoenix is going to start lifting up roaches as well to help minimize the damage. More Lings going down too. Harstem's defending this. 23 workers down, his 4th base under fire. Problem is, his Oracles are running out of energy here shortly. There's a little bit of energy left over. Can he defend this base? It looks as though he might be able to. Harstem will hold with only a 7 worker deficit. The army supply is playable. because the tech here from Solar is really just non-existent. His tech is kind of a few Corruptors and Roaches. It's not really kind of a fighting army tech sort of setup. As you're going to see, Corruptors will start to come on forwards here. Now you have to get somewhat of an answer to these. One Oracle will go down. And I guess the answer is Void Rays, right? He cancels the rest of his Oracles here. We'll just warp in a couple of Stalkers initially. Phoenix here to try and help out. Oracle going to try and do a little bit of the tanking. Stalkers here to try to fight as well. Harstem's just going to go straight up go for this. Going to send his Oracles forwards to try and chase down the Roaches, etc. But, I mean, I don't know. Like, the Phoenix are being kind of given up for this now. And that's a bit of a weird one. It maybe allows, you know, Solar to perhaps go back into mutas. I mean, I think it's the Roach army is doing enough right now because there isn't really an army on the, you know, to fight these Roaches any longer. The Oracles are gone, and while this was looking okay for Harstem, he didn't actually have a response to the Corruptors. And I don't know what the best response is. Maybe just Void Rays already. You see the Roaches, and, you know, once you've dealt with the Phoenix, dealt with the mutas, go to the Void Rays instead. Probably a better way to go about this anyway is GG's. And Solar's going to take game number 1 versus Solar. And Harstem trying something a little bit different in the last game. But to the bottom left, our man from Splice was just able to have the answer of his own and his own tech switches to confuse things. It's a yellow Zerg player from Splice. Solar. Top right, the blue Zerg Protoss player from Asterion Esports. It is Harstem. Let's see if he can get himself together here a little bit. Just play. I'd like to see him play kind of what he was playing against Cyril, just to see how well Solo deals with it, and see if, you know, if Harstem can once again push himself into those winnable positions that he was finding when he was playing against Cyril. I think that'd be very cool to see if he could make that happen. Be very interesting as we setting up, getting ready to rumble, getting ready to see how things go. Setting up in these early stages, going to see an assimilator coming down. Obviously, really nothing too crazy, right? Nexus first is something worth mentioning, but it is an up the ramp natural. And with an up the ramp natural, it's a little bit safer. It's very easily walled off by gates, etc. In general, it's going to be completely fine for Harstem to open Nexus first. Harstem getting used as a mop today. I mean, he's just getting, you know, he's playing well. He's just getting into good positions, and he's, you know, he's making some mistakes, and you know, that's the thing about StarCraft 2. It's a game about, you know, it is a game of making the least mistakes, right? And so far, he's been making just a couple more significant mistakes than other players. Like when Harstem's getting advantages, it's little bits at a time, but when he's losing his advantages, it's massive engagements going the way of his opponent. And that's obviously what really kind of sort of throws him off canter and kind of throws him into a bit of a world of, well, what, you know, a bit of a world of what on earth is this? Like, what do I do now? That sort of stuff. Overlord coming through to the upper right hand side. Just can't be seeing that link speed coming up. Harstem's an awesome player, don't get me wrong, see him do work, he's just been outplayed so far, you think? I don't think he's been outplayed. I think he's been outplayed, maybe in that last game outplayed, but I think against Cyril, he was outplaying Cyril in the early stages of the games. But again, like, StarCraft is one of these things where you can have an advantage and you yourself can mess it up, and I really feel a lot of the mistakes, a lot of what's happened today is because of Harstem. Like, a lot of the advantages that he's put himself in was Harstem. But I don't think very often Cyril has made fantastic moves as much as Harstem has just walked into the middle of creep and just attacked a little bit too soon, and Cyril then takes advantage of that. You know? I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting thing to kind of think about a little bit, but it's yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one. I mean, that's what's so tough about StarCraft, right? So many things can go right and wrong in the same game. It's going to be seeing these adepts. It's going to be getting surrounded pretty quickly here. Harstem gets free workers, which is nice, not bad. Free workers forces a lot of links. Solar's actually down only 27 drones on the map at the moment. Obviously, with the Nexus first combined into these double gates, it allows them to apply a lot of pressure off of a lot of workers. And so Harstem in general just going to be controlling the early stages of the economy. Look at that peak. Really getting a nice little lead there right away. Robotics facility comes on down from Harstem as this Oracle does pop out of the Stargate. Gonna be heading across, looking to see what else is gonna happen. Ability to come back from bad position is one of the best indicators of whether someone's actually a good player, and Serral is just very good. I mean, I'm not disagreeing that like Serral is, you know, okay, maybe I made it sound a bit like it's all Harstem fucking up and whatever, but you know, Serral has obviously been able to bring himself back from those positions too. He's created the opportunities for them to happen, and Harstem has walked right into those opportunities. But I do feel a lot more of it is if Harstem didn't wander into those opportunities, even for Serral, it would be difficult for him to kind of pull, you know, those positions back into his favor. You know, it takes two for a big blunder like that to happen. One person to make it and the other one to capitalize on it, right? So it's yeah, it's an interesting discussion, and obviously it's very opinion based on who you think is right and who you think is wrong. I don't know. I just think it's whatever you come to the conclusion of. I think it's unfair to say that Harstem's being outplayed today. I think he's doing a very good job of putting himself in good positions, and even if he loses it later, you know, I don't think that's necessarily him being outplayed all game or whatever. Perhaps. It's an interesting discussion, right? Nice to go off canter a little bit and just let this game develop in the meantime, because we do see a queen drop coming over. Some Lings on the way too. And here we go, Ling's already going to drop, run on in towards this third base. So we've seen the Lings dropping in towards the main at the same time, and now Harstem going to have to respond in multiple locations. Let's see how his crisis management is going to be. Well, the ship 4 pops. Will be a good save in the main. Only 5 workers lost here. Now Queens and Lings down towards the third base, and well, Solo is kind of just droning up behind this. So it's not a lot of continued pressure, but so far it's going pretty well, and Harstem might very well have to cancel that third base. Now supply blocked as he loses the pile, and the base is cancelled. Solo once again is with the aggression here, finding himself a way into the early stages of the mid game with a bit of an advantage. Very nicely done so far. As we will see, this Archon will get the kill on these Overlord. The Queen's inside. No drop and transfuse play, which is what you might usually see in that situation. Nice pick off by Harstem, who will look at this and say, okay, well, you denied my third base, but God, look at how much you had to commit to be able to deny my third base, right? So Harstem is going to be... That was actually really nice as well. I thought the probe disappeared. It got lifted into the prism to keep it alive, so you didn't have to send a new probe over. Very nicely done. Lair on the way up. And we're getting set up and ready to roll. And towards the next stage of this. +2 melee, the potential Hydra is done as well. It's actually going to go Roach speed and play kind of a Ling Roach style, it would seem. Just an income graph so far. Interesting game in general so far. Yeah, I think Harstem's doing okay. Now he can defend his third fairly easily. Yeah, I like where it's going for him. Feelings from Solo going to open up the map by taking down those rocks in front of his fourth base. And yeah, just going to focus on the Roaches. No sign of a Banelin Nest or anything either. Just Roach speed, +1 missile attacks. It's going to be a very Roach-focused game. I mean, he got +1 melee initially for these Lings, etc., but... well, I guess we'll see what happens in the next few moments, right? The set of Lings already making their way through the next set of rocks. Solo just going for a huge kind of Roach spam attack here in the near future. And Harstem's Oracle is going to find a lot of those Roaches starting to move over. Meanwhile, Archons come on in and they're going to start doing some damage. Issue is, though, these Archons, if they stick around too long and they don't go home, it's going to be an even harder defense for Harstem to get rid of all of these Roaches of Solo, who is already going to be struggling a little bit. He's opening in a few more Sentries, a few more Zealots, and Extra-Mortals on the way. At the same time, if you can do good damage with those Archons while they're across the map and this fight is going on, well, that would be brilliant as well, and that would be something which goes his way. You're going to see very nice engagement here so far. Harstem with good force fields, now backing away, giving himself more time, backing into the choke point and the overcharges. At the same time, the Ling's going to run by in towards the main base, and that's the mineral line, which now for Harstem is going to be really taking a beating. So Archon just wanders forwards. There's Immortals left forwards on its own as well. Mistakes by Harstem as he tries to deal with this attack setup all over the map. I mean, in the main, he defends fairly distantly once again. It's at the third base this time, where he's really starting to fall apart. I mean, the corrosive bars are going to get rid of the overcharges. The sentries will buy a few seconds, but I mean, he's going to break through the army. It's as simple as that. Probes are going to keep on going down, and this really will be Harstem Down 0-2 already now in this loser bracket finals. And this is not going the way he will have wanted it to. Just 2 games in a row where solo really aggression and kind of different aggression. It's not really letting Harstem play his game. Harstem not really being prepared for this. I mean, for example, right now these 2 Archons are still not doing anything. GGG is called. Harstem, I feel, is starting to run out of steam a little bit. He's had such a great run through this event. Yet he crazy. Alright, let's do this, guys. Thank you so much, God's Green, for the sub. Let's see some love in the chat as we jump into game number 3. Bottom right-hand side, our yellow Zerg player from Splice. Give it up if you're cheering on Solar. He's going to be playing against the Blue Protoss player to the upper left-hand side of the map, Harstem. He's down 0-2. When will Harstem just get to play his normal opening though? Like, when will we see him do that kind of charge, zealot, Archon thing that he's been doing against Serral that brought him so much success and so much opportunity, you know? I don't know. Setting up into this, getting ready to go into game 3, really getting the gears right, grinding, the wheels are rolling off into the third one of this series. Remember, Harstem is down by 2. If he loses this, he's out and finishing 3rd place here in the Penthouse Party. If he wins this series, so if Solo wins now or if Harstem somehow comes back to win, it will be the match against Serral in the winner bracket, well, not the winner bracket, the grand final. Best of 7, where I believe Serral does start 1 map up. Exciting times. Exciting times. A few more Lings on the way, and Overlord building as well. Ling speed is about 75% of the way done here too. Setting up into this and getting ready to see what happens, right? 3rd hatchery comes down as well here from Solar. So he sets up into that, and again, just going to be seeing the Zealot coming in, chasing down this mothership core. Just everything tag teaming together to try and make, mount a bit of an assault on this 3rd base. Some Lings coming in, going to try and get the probe, which he does. And this nice means that Harstem can't actually throw down a pylon to pylon rush this and overcharge the 3rd. And that's actually a pretty big deal. Really nice targeting there by Solar. Probably a bigger deal than I'm initially realizing on making this out to be, because if this was a pylon on the way, he'd be forced to fight in towards it much earlier, and obviously if it finishes and an overcharge makes this a completely different scenario. Lings coming in again, and Adept and Zealot just going to hide between the mineral lines. Just going to continue to trade out with these Lings, etc. Dark Shrine on the way up from Harstem. Just going to go for the Archon drops here of the DTs. A little bit of a different way of going about, kind of a similar similar thing to what he's done before, but a different way, a different slight way of doing it. So with some more Lings on the way across, looking as though he wants to get aggressive right now. More Lings being made, drop of a Lord coming into play. Lings just going to jump on up, and I guess the extra Lings just coming out to defend at home while Solo does apply some pressure into the main. There's the extra drones coming up now, so not only is this going to be a bit of pressure from Solo, it's also going to be great information now. I mean, he's already actually seen the Dark Shrine, so he does know what this is going to be at least. So Lings is going to start running forwards. A couple of DTs will begin to warp in. I was using these DTs hopefully to try and clean up some of these Lings, but then would like to kind of get them into the warp prism and get them to start moving across the map. Overcharge comes down, pushing that Overlord back at the same time. Some Lings at the front not going to get through into the position because the Zealot is warped. For Overcharge, and this time, no real option as to where this goes. Nice cleanup by Harstem eventually, but it did take a while, and that means that it was a while where this prism was not moving across the map. He's also brought a probe in this warp prism. I'm not really sure what exactly the goal of the probe is at the moment. Drops in another couple DTs. What did he do with the probe? Just send it back home? Was this a mistake? Did he lift it up to save it and then just forgot he had it in the prism? Kind of interesting. Kind of interesting. I was going to see that probe pulling all the way back in towards the natural expansion. Forge does get dropped on down here as well. Again, Baneling Nest, Lair. All the tools necessary here from Solar to move on from this point as Warprism comes in already taking a lot of damage, though super low on hit points. And his Archon's going to push on forwards and try and just do a little bit more. Few more Zards warping in, and again just pushing on forwards with this Queen. No transfusers available, so Queen goes down. And now these Banes are not really going to get much of a chance to finish either. Here come the Zerglings. Surround on the Archons, but obviously then the Archons juggle to get out of range. Prism must be careful though, Queen's back on top of it, it's lost its shields already. Taking a little bit more damage there, but does get out. And there is the cleanup now with these Zerglings doing their job. Solo holds on, but again, not really the prettiest of defenses. Harstem just finding good opportunities to do little bits and pieces of damage here, little bits and pieces of damage there. So far, he's making it all add up. 2 Archons just going to sit over to the right-hand side. A few extra gates on the way as well from Harstem, and also just going to be seeing the, I guess, charge coming through. Some other bits and pieces like that. Archons clean out some more Zerglings here. This Hydralisk going to be maybe in a little bit of trouble. Takes a shot right there. Again, Lingbane from Solar coming back up the right side of the map. All of these Zerglings going to be moving across. Hatchery is set up, and the Warprism coming back up top. Seeing where it might want to go. Just going to drop a couple Archons down the Watchtower. Again, just really a setup sort of stage of the game where we wait to see what the next movement is. Neither player really doing anything too exciting in terms of the tech trees. Pretty much what we expected to be. We see Harstem starting to be a bit more aggressive perhaps. Sentries and Mortals pushing across here with what was being a couple more Archons being warped in. We're down Temple Archives now for Storm and some other bits and pieces. You can see those extra Zards now warping in as well. So, Harstem going to fully launch an attack forwards here and in towards the 3rd and 4th base, and well, here we go. Initial Banes from Solar doing pretty decently. Hydras in the back, Queens too, picking the way through those Archons, etc. Just get 1 kill. No lift up there so far from Harstem. Remember, if Solar can just get himself on top of that Prism and take that down. It was something which won Sarah one of the games earlier today. In fact, it was the game on Ascension to Aya. Took down the Prism in this exact location here. Harstem going to keep on trying to push it. A few more Banes on the way up. Zealot's going to be taking the charge now towards the base. A little bit of skirmishing, a couple of units being lost on either side as these armies get controlled back and forth. Trying to figure out how exactly to fight into this here. We've seen Banes already, and now Banespeed comes in, gets rid of a lot of Zealots off the get-go of this. We'll be seeing another couple of Archons going down before they can really do anything. And now that Warprism is going to have to unsiege or unwarp in mode and begin to back away because it is out of options. Runs into a couple more of these Hydralisks. Mortals drop down, pick back up. Solar defends, and Harstem is on the ropes because this attack hasn't worked, and Solar's just defended this beautifully. Storm on the way up in the main base, so it's going to be his next sort of tech choice here, and Harstem going to have to play for the later stages of this now. Build up his army all over again, which will take just a little while. Banes and Hydras continue to come on out here from Solar. Moving around, see what they can get up to. You're going to see the Zealot here. And they get taken down pretty swiftly. And again, just going to be seeing Harstem gathering up together. And they're ready to keep on rolling. Solar's the one that's going to bring the pressure to him though, and Harstem, can he buy himself the moments he needs? Nice Storm initially. Second Storm's good too. Some of the initial Banes going down as they push through that. Some more Banes coming up this ramp. More Storms are available. Drops on towards the Hydras, liking that. It's a good set of Storms, but he had to cancel his 4th base. 10 workers going down in the process. One more drones going down as we see Harstem able to counterattack it in the main base at least. So it's going to force Solar to come back home, and it's going to be able to obviously force himself into a bit of a better spot here for a moment or so. Force the army back home, gives him some time to prepare and to deal with the incoming threat. which is this army. So we've seen this overload. So just coming up in this direction. Still just waiting to see what the plan for it will be. Bane's just morphing in still, and again, Lingering Hydra coming still towards the upper left side of this. So just waiting for the fight. A few Banes already marching forwards. Good storms though already by Harstem. Rid of the first wave of this. Now he's T+1 missile about to finish. Obviously those Hydras going to have the power, a little bit more power to help push through. And here we go, the fight's really starting to kick off now. A lot more storms though, and a lot of these Banes are being dealt with. Doesn't feel like there's too many Hydras left. A wave of Lings will come forwards. A couple of models getting picked off here, but a wave of Zealots. No Banelings to help clean those out. And so Harstem's able to push Solar away here through this top side. Banes morphing in once again. Obviously an essential part of this composition. As soon as there weren't Banes there, you could see those Zealots pushing through and creating issues for Solar. But Harstem has defended, and if he keeps on defending this fourth base, this game could turn around. It could force Solar even to think about tech beyond Lingbane Hydra, which has just been unheard of so far in this series. For now, Solar's just looking to push through once again. Push through once again, keep the pressure rolling. I mean, there's not as many storms as before, although the High Templar just about get some of the energy left. There's only going to be 1 or 2 storms available right now. It's perfect time for Solar to go. Problem is the souls are so many Archons. Immortals obviously aren't going to make it any easier. And, well, Solar's just still trying to set up for one large fight, but I think from my point of view, Harstem doesn't have some sort of absolute disaster in terms of control. It's going to be difficult for him to kind of lose this fight. Well, this could be an interesting one though. Solar maybe feeling the same thing, so instead of fighting, he's going to go around and in towards the third base right away here. Some Banes being used to help take down some of these workers. Probes are going to be pulling back a little bit. Oh, here come the Zealots, but there's the Banes turning. And again, it seems sort of as we've seen before, those Banes crashing in, doing quite a lot. This was nice from Solar, slowing down some of Harstem's economy, because it's one of the things that's gone unharassed in this game, and playing a less efficient style such as Lingbane Hydra generally relies on you hurting and slowing the Protoss economy to be able to be successful with it. A few more Banes morphing as we do see Banes rolling around up here. Ready to get rid of a cannon. Currently flooding in towards this mineral line yet again, though. Harstem's just so out of position. His third base will fall. He's just going to push through the center. He's just going to give it up. I mean, Solar, though, he's going to think about pulling back, I think. He's just going to go back home, and he's just going to fight this. He says, okay, you're going to keep pushing forwards? Well, I'll let you keep pushing forwards, but I'm going to take the fight. Here we go. So we see the Lings starting running forwards. Bane's coming in too. Hydra's starting to spread out. A few storms left over. The Bane's starting to make their way into this here. The Lings are going to start surrounding those High Templar, forcing the Archon to build. GG, well played. Harstem just